Hi guys, my name is Dmitrious Bistrevsky. As Audrey said before, I'm a circus performer and action actor living here in Los Angeles. I'm one half of the Bistrevsky brothers. That's my younger brother right there. And I get to perform with him all the time, which is really cool. Before we start, I wanted to answer a few questions that people always ask me all the time. How tall am I? I'm 6'7". Technically, I'm 6'6.5". But if I tell you I'm 6'6.5", you're gonna be like, no. You're 6'7". Okay, I'm 6'7". I'm a circus performer. The air up here is great. I don't play basketball. I'm not part of a circus family, and I didn't start doing gymnastics as a kid. I actually used to be a janitor, which is a really, really good profession that you should all aspire to do. But before we get into the juicy details of my janitorial career, I wanted to share my most embarrassing life experience at that time with you guys. It was an audition that I did when I was 21 years old. And I came from a smaller city, Spokane, Washington, and for me, it was a big deal. It's a really big deal, and I want to share that with you guys. So check it out.
Welcome back to Seattle. Now, they call this the rainy city, but outside, things have dried up. Inside, things are still pretty miserable. So far, the dancers haven't hit the heights the judges would like. Hoping to change that was 6'6" b-boy Dmitrious Bistrevsky.
A week ago, I was really, really confident, and then I videotaped myself working out, and I saw it, and now it's like kind of iffy. Now I'm here already, so I'm doing it, but I was a lot more confident before I saw a taping of me dancing. Apparently, it looks a lot better in my head.
Okay.
How long have you been doing breaking?
3 months.
3 months. Oh, wow. Well, that's what it felt like. I was watching somebody that's been trying something for 3 months. I didn't feel, for one thing, that you had the strength, you know, and there was this wild, wicked song. Wow! 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 And then you were just like falling down, and it was getting slower and slower as it was going along, you know. And I just wanted you to just really nail it. And it was just, I was like scared, actually, because I realized, you know, that you don't really know what you're doing.
It scared me. I couldn't even enjoy it. It sounded like the music was beating the out of you, and you were completely dying on us, and it scared me.
I'm not sure you're allowed to say on television.
Can't say
Yeah,
No.
just say
Say
Can't say
okay.
Don't say it
Go.
again, Mia.
Yeah. Okay. There wasn't anything there for me at all, I'm afraid.
It's a no for me.
It's a no for me,
I'd like
but
it.
I hope to encourage you to keep going.
If you love dancing, don't just stick with breaking. Classical would be fantastic. You'd make a great partner. You'd be able to lift girls with one finger. Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. We'll see you in a couple of years doing that then, shall we?
Sounds good.
All right, bye for now. Thank
Bye.
you very much.
So a fun fact, that song I picked was for shock value. I think I got it. The second thing is my performance that I just did was 1:30, which is exactly how long I had for So You Think You Dance. Now I'm going to backtrack a little bit. So I used to be a janitor, and I was a self-employed janitor, which meant I had a lot of free time on my hands. A lot of free time. All my friends were at school or at work. I worked either late nights or early mornings. So my whole day was essentially free to do whatever I wanted, though I didn't have anything to do. I went to the lake that summer, and I learned how to do a backflip into the water off a dock. And this was a huge deal for me because I always wanted to do gymnastics. And I always wanted to do it, but I was always told I was too tall. And also our family wasn't financially stable enough to pay for their 6'7" or 6'6" son or tall boy to do gymnastics. And I've always wanted to do it. So when I learned how to do that backflip, something awoke inside of me, and I'm like, wow, I could do this. I could do this. And I had all this free time, so I started going into gymnastics gyms and finding out about adult classes and about renting the gym because I wanted to learn. Now, I started learning about adult classes, and then I realized that, one, I'm really, really self-conscious about people watching me learn how to do stuff because I'm a tall, awkward white male. And I don't want people to like laugh at me. So I was really scared to do it. So I started asking about renting the gym. And I stopped by at a gymnastics place, left my number, and I get a call the next day. And this call surprised me because what they asked me was if I wanted to interview for a coaching position at the gym. They called, "Hi, I'm from Spokane Elite Gymnastics, now formerly Spokane Elite Gymnastics, now it's Spokane Gymnastics. And like, we're looking for coaches. We know that you were inquiring. We're looking for, a male coach who's strong, who could spot the kids on the high bar and whatnot." And I immediately informed them, no. I know nothing about gymnastics. I want to learn gymnastics. Like, no, it's not that big of a deal. We'll train you. You could interview if we like you. We'll train you to coach. I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'll think about it." And then I hung up and I just sat there with my phone and I'm like, do I want to do this job interview? I don't need the money, but I have lots of time, so, And this was my first why not moment. My why not moment, where I was just like, why not? What's the worst that could happen, So I went to this job interview, and I got to play with kids, which was really, really cool, and we played games, and got to play in the foam pit and whatnot, and I fell in love with it. And the kids fell in love with me because they've never seen a jolly, tall person. So it was a great fit, and I got hired, and they started teaching me how to coach. 6 months down the line, I'm now coaching preschool classes. And a funny thing about preschool is if you ever get one preschooler to cry, which is really easy when you're 6, 7 by just saying, "Hi, I'm Coach Dmitrious," then all of them will cry. It's a chain reaction. Wah, wah, wah. And they all start bawling. That was one of the things I had to learn as a coach. And progressively, as I learned more, I started teaching higher levels. And then I got to the point where I started teaching boys who were level 1, 2, and 2, 3. And I got to the point because boys always ask, "Why don't you do it? Show me. Show me how to do it." And I'm like, I don't have the heart to lie to a child. I can't do it. I don't have it in me. So every coach has a thing that they say to deflect it. I did it when I was younger. I had my time. Now it's your time. Passing the baton on to you. Me, I was like, well, I technically hired a coach here, and I really don't know. I can't physically do it, but I could teach you. I have the knowledge in my head. But I could teach you, but I don't know, and I could help you out. But the kids don't really care about that. They just want you to see a handstand or a backflip or something. So I started feeling like a hypocrite. And what I decided to do was teach myself. I already knew how to teach. I had access to a camera. So what I would do is whatever classes I taught during the week, at night when the gym closed, my manager, Nadine Burgess, allowed me to train myself, as long as I had someone else to watch and supervise in case I got hurt. So I started off with the basic progressions, basic handstands, forward rolls, cartwheels, and I gradually got better because the kids trained 1 day a week and I trained 5 days a week, which was a big difference. So half a year later, I'm now as good as some of our team boys. And this why not in me started happening throughout my life, started manifesting throughout my life. My older brother asked me, "Hey, you want to go back to school?" Because at the time I had dropped out. Why not? Why not? Who knows what could happen? And I kept on saying, why not? And my why nots got a little bit more ridiculous as I got more confident. And one day my friend Tucker Fry, who worked at the gym with me, said, "Hey, Dmitrious, you want to audition for So You Think You Dance with me?" And I said, "Tucker, I can't break dance. I don't know anything about breakdancing. I have now basic gymnastics ability, but I can't do anything of that sort." He's like, "No, dude, I'll teach you." Okay, why not? So we had 3 months to train. Unfortunately, we didn't train for those 3 months. Kind of forgot about it. But 3 weeks before, we started training really hard. Really, really hard. And we came out there and we tried our best. But the night before, I had the realization that I'm not as good as I thought I was. And I honestly don't know what I'm doing. But at this point, I can't back out now. I've already gone to Seattle, because we're from Spokane, so we drove 6 hours to audition for this. And you saw what happened. That was it. And I was so embarrassed when it happened, because it's a very hard thing to try your best at something and fail, and then be critiqued on it afterwards. So we came home, and we're exhausted, and we're tired, and we sat down, and the next day I woke up angry. Because there was one thing that one of the judges said something to me. I'm not going to say which judge, and it kept on replaying in my head. And she said, "I don't think you'll ever be good, but I encourage you to keep going. I don't think you'll ever be good. I don't think you'll ever be good. I don't think you'll ever be good." This reverb played in my head over and over again, and I couldn't stop. I got angry. I got passionately angry. And I said, no. The only person who decides whether I could be good or not is me. So I started training. Tucker and I formed a breakdance crew. It's technically b-boy, but I'm going to say breakdance so people can understand. We started a b-boy crew called the Paper Cutout Crew. We met 2 other people, it was 4 of us, and we started training 2 days a week, and then 2 days became 3 days a week, and 3 days became 5 days a week. And before you know it, we're on this intense training regimen, and we're trying to be the best. And this happened for about 3 months, and we started improving, and we started pushing through injuries. And when you sprained your wrist, you do your freezes on your left side, and when your left shoulder hurt, you start doing footwork, and you just keep going, and you never stop. And then an interesting thing happened. that video that I'd almost forgotten about got aired on TV 3 months later, because that's how TV works. And I was already at peace with it, kind of. Still angry, but I was starting to forget about it. And then it aired, and that second wave of embarrassment was 100 times worse than the first. Because the first wave of embarrassment, only I knew, and Tucker knew, and a few of my friends. The second time, the world knew. And suddenly, I'm walking outside, and people are like, hey, you're that tall guy who was like falling on TV. And I'm flattered that you're giving me compliments, but in my mind, I'm thinking, I tried my best. That was my best. That I did everything I could. And I didn't even hear about the video because I was working. And then I showed up next day to my econ class. My professor screened it on the big screen for all of us to watch. And I looked there, and I was mortified because I almost forgot about it. But then I heard the judges again, and everything flashed back. And I got more angry and more passionate, and I trained harder, even harder than before. Another 6 months goes by, and suddenly, now we're making a name for ourselves. Our breakdance crew is known, paper cutout crew. We're starting doing local community shows, things like that. I'm saying why not more often to other things. I start going back to theater. I'm in school again. I'm doing all these things. And an interesting thing happened. Halfway through, one day during practice, we're all practicing laughing. I'm sitting down taking a break. And I looked around and saw everyone smiling. And these people who were strangers a year ago are now my really, really close friends. And I'm like, I'm having fun. I'm enjoying this. This is something that I like doing. And at that moment, I realized that my anger had faded, as it does with time. And I wasn't angry anymore, and I wasn't as passionate anymore, but something filled that, and I was having fun, doing something that I wanted to do, not caring that I was the tall, goofy white guy trying to breakdance. That didn't matter. And this why not progressed on and on to make other bigger choices. So my main point, I have 2 points to this. The main point, one, is to try to say why not more often to weird life situations, because who knows what's going to happen. Worst case scenario, you'll have a really cool story to tell. My second point is do not audition for So You Think You Could Dance, especially if you cannot dance. No, that's not my actual point. My actual point is that listen to your inner voice inside your head, your inner voice inside your heart, versus the voices of others, because people always talk. People will always talk. Whether you're good, whether you're bad, people will always talk. And let them talk, because they'll always tell you what they're afraid to do. They'll always tell you what they're afraid that you're going to do. You're going to get hurt. No, you're way too big to do that. You can't move to Los Angeles. But when you stop listening to them and start listening to yourself, you could wear red sweatpants to TED Talk. Who knows? So with that, thank you for your time. My name is Dmitrious Bistrevsky. Have a great day.